We've got Steve Hilton, by the way, I think now. Steve, I don't know if you've seen the clip yet of the crazy Democrat nominee, one of the people running for it, saying that she doesn't know whether a woman could beat Usain Bolt in the 100 meters. But I thought it was a perfect distillation of where the California Democrat primary is.
Yeah.
They're just bonkers.
I'm so excited to talk to you about this today because I was actually on that interview with Piers Morgan. I was following her up. And originally, I think they set it up as a debate, and she didn't want to do a debate, so I was just patiently waiting. And as she was speaking, I saw myself on the little video green room. My jaw was dropping, and I kept thinking, she's not going to say that. Like, surely she no way she's going to say gender-neutral Olympics. No way she's going to say track and field when Piers asked her what sports biological men could compete with. And every time you thought, no way, she's not going to say something so crazy, she said it. It's just incredible. But exactly as you say, this is where they're at. These California Democrats, insane. The far left, still in control. People are sick of it here, and that's why I'm running for governor, because we've got to have change. We can't go on like this with these lunatics in charge of our beautiful state.
What do you say, Steve? It's Buck. Thanks for being here with us. And whether it's Gavin Newsom or other Democrats out there, they really seem to have taken this point of view that California is actually doing great and that it's awesome and that they're kicking ass and their governance is amazing. Like, they're not trying to excuse or explain any of the shortcomings. They just say that it's been fabulous. I mean, Gavin Newsom, instead of even feeling like he has to defend anything, he just is basically saying California is number one in all these different things and leaves it at that.
Yeah, well, this is what ties together the Betty Yee interview, the other car crash interview we saw with Katie Porter and Gavin Newsom, all of them. This is what you get. This is the attitude you get after 15 years of one-party rule. This total arrogance, entitlement, contempt for the truth, for the reality of people's lives. And they just think they can get away with it because for so long they've had a pliant media in California. They're not used to being asked these kinds of questions, and they're not used to being held accountable by a strong opposition party. And that's why I'm really confident when they face a candidate like me who's just not going to let them get away with it. It's going to be a very different story next year in the election, just specifically on the Gavin Newsom BS that he spews about all of this. I mean, his favorite statistic, he's got to have to slightly adjust it a little bit. He's been saying for a while, everything's great because we have the fourth largest economy in the world. That was true, by the way, until yesterday. We dropped down to fifth, but still, that's good. But beneath that, you've got a story of California as a state now where the rich get richer, and the people who own these giant AI and tech companies are doing well. That's the reason we have such a big economy. But at the same time, we have the highest unemployment rate in all of America. The worst in all 50 states. Same with poverty. We have the highest poverty rate. And if you look carefully at what he says, he's always talking about the size of things. You know, we're biggest for this and we're the largest for that. But actually, that's going to be true for almost anything because we're the biggest state with the largest population. But if you talk about the actual performance on any metric, we are not just doing badly, we're doing the worst of all 50 states. The worst reading scores for kids in public schools, the worst, the highest taxes, the highest cost for housing, gas, electricity, water, insurance, everything. The worst business climate 10 years in a row. There's literally nothing they can point to as a success. And so they got to do these kind of ridiculous statistical nonsense. But everyone can see, everyone can feel it. That's why you've got a large majority now in California. You say it's time for change. And that's why I'm confident I'm going to win next year.
We're talking to Steve Hilton. I want to go to the arson that we found out actually caused the LA fires. We hear from a lot of people out there. Adam Carolla was on with us recently. He has a house in one of the communities that was drastically impacted. I see these stories and I hear from people. They still can't get rebuilt. What are you seeing and hearing from the people of Los Angeles responding to that wildfire crisis? A lot of the media, the drive-by media, as Rush called them, have left, and they're not covering the failure of LA to be rebuilt. What do you see and hear on the ground there in the aftermath of those fires?
Well, it's a total disaster that is a completely perfect illustration of how they're running the state. So you look at just on the numbers, I looked them up the other day just to get the latest. Malibu is the most egregious. In Malibu, 600 homes destroyed. The total number of permits issued for rebuilding, 2. Literally 2. If you look across the various burned neighborhoods, Altadena, Pacific Palisades, it's under 10%. And the reason is that it's this terrible combination, which is what's destroying California, of far left ideology and incompetent governance. And both of those two things working together. So the ideology comes in when they're now pushing this idea that the single family home, that's the foundation of the California dream, is some evil thing that needs to be fought back, and everyone needs to be living in apartments with no parking and taking transit in the name of climate change. I mean, do they live like that? The people who push this. Newsom, does he live in an apartment? Does Nancy Pelosi get around San Francisco on transit? Of course not. It's total elitism. And that's the ideology. So they want people to move out so they can build apartments in line with their ideology of what they call density. But the second point is just the sheer incompetence, where Karen Bass months ago said she is streamlining permitting and whatever. None of that's happened. And I talk to people who literally, they go to the building department every day. There's a different person. There's a different rule. Nothing's been streamlined. Nothing's been simplified. They can't get insurance. The insurance people say, well, we can't give you insurance until you get a permit. The permit people say you can't get a permit until you get the insurance. It's just a nightmare for people. No one's gripping it. No one's in charge, whether that's Newsom or Karen Bass locally or Newsom at the state level. And it's just a perfect illustration of everything that's gone wrong in California.
Well, I have to tell you, Steve, there's somebody out there with windswept hair and a shirt buttoned down to his navel who disagrees with you. We want to let you react. Here is Gavin Newsom, his version of California. Play 33.
I think there's a California derangement syndrome, and he's part of it. I mean, I think people are obsessed with focusing on what's wrong with the state and not what's right with the state. I mean, you have more scientists, engineers, more researchers, more Nobel laureates in the state than any other state in the nation. We're the 4th largest economy in the world, $4.1 trillion. We're the finest system of higher education that addresses the issue of equity better than any other public education system in the world. We dominate in every category, name it. We're the biggest manufacturing state, biggest farming state, in every key category. The quality of life here consistently, and you look at the top 10 cities in the United States of America consistently, the top 5 are identified in the state of California.
All right, so obviously preparing, yeah, I know. I'm going to give you the floor. He's preparing his stump speech there, and I also feel like a lot of this is, well, you're also by far the biggest state, Gavin, but go ahead, Steve.
Oh, I wished I was able to have a debate with him. I wish he was running again so I could just go for it. First of all, it's exactly what I said. He just says we're the biggest, the largest. Yes, we have the largest ag industry, but it's being crushed by their policies, by Gavin Newsom's policies. We should be expanding our farming industry. Instead, it's being destroyed because he refuses to give them water, because of their climate agenda. Their labor regulations makes it more and more expensive. Look at manufacturing. Yes, we're the largest because we're the largest pretty much in everything, because we're the biggest state with the largest population. What's actually happening with manufacturing? You take NVIDIA, the world's most valuable company, just announced that with President Trump a few months ago, $500 billion of investment in America. None of it in California. It's in Texas, it's in Arizona, because those are places where you can actually build things without years of bureaucratic delay and massive taxes. Everything he says is a lie, because it doesn't reflect the truth about what it's like here, which is that we are, on every metric that matters, the worst performing state in America. And that's the direct result of his policies and his incompetence.
You mentioned Katie Porter. We played the audio. It went mega viral. She was at the time the favorite to be the nominee for California Democrats next year. What was your thought when you saw it? Did it surprise you? What does it say about Katie Porter and California Democrats?
It did a little bit, because I've met her a few times. Most of the polls show that, I mean, we have this top 2 system in California where you don't have a Republican and a Democrat primary. Everyone's on the same ballot, and the top 2 go through to the general election. And for the last few months, I mean, the polls, it's pretty early. There's a large number of don't knows, so I'm not too kind of focused on this, but they pretty consistently show that the top two is Katie Porter and me. And so in once I've been paying attention to her. We see each other every now and again at these candidate forums, not a real debate, but, you know, she's the ineptness on display there. The fact that you just couldn't answer a basic question and completely lost it was really surprising to me. But again, what's interesting is that the machine doesn't care. The Democrat machine, this arrogant, entitled bunch of people who think that they've got the right to rule forever in California. How dare you ask me questions? How dare anyone think that they're going to interrupt our control of this state? Right back in behind her. You had unions coming out with statements saying, yes, we're for Katie Porter still. We don't want someone polite. We need someone who's going to fight. All this nonsense. The real interesting question, though, is that the Democrat machine in California overall is still run by Nancy Pelosi, who can't stand Katie Porter. And so even before this meltdown, the rumor mill here was saying that they are looking for another candidate because they don't want Katie Porter, because they don't control her, actually. And so right now, the speculation is that they are trying to recruit Alex Padilla. He's the U.S. senator who made a fool of himself barging into Kristi Noem's press conference. He's the guy that they want. And I'd say bring it on, because he's just another complete mediocrity, another machine politician who'll just spout the party line, controlled by the unions, and cannot possibly represent the change that we need in California.
Steve Hilton, if people like what they're hearing here, how can they find out? How can they get involved?
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. SteveHiltonForGovernor.com, FOR. Look, it's not just about California, wherever you're listening in the country. So let's go right back to where we started with the trans athletes and biological men and girls sports. That all started here in California. They passed that law in 2013. As governor, I would overturn it, but it's a good example of how so many of the crazy far left insanity that's been inflicted on the rest of the country, it starts in California. So help me beat it here. SteveHiltonForGovernor.com.
Good stuff, Steve. We'll talk to you again. Keep up the good fight. We appreciate you.
Fantastic. See you soon. Cheers, guys.
All right, you're going to hear a lot of great things about one of our new sponsors, Cozy Earth, but guess what? You don't have to hear from me or Buck. Just trust us on this. Carrie and Laura, our respective wives, they absolutely love these products. Cozy Earth, most comfortable, luxurious, soft sheets you'll ever sleep on. And if you don't know if that's going to be true for you, you get 100 days to try these sheets out. No risk, 100 days, and then a 10-year warranty on top of it. What do you have to lose? Trust us on this. Bamboo sheets transform your sleep, temperature regulating, moisture wicking. You are going to love them. We've got them in the Travis household. They got them in the Sexton household. We trust them to sleep on our beds. You'll love them too. Go to CozyEarth.com, code CLAY, and you get 20% off everything. That's CozyEarth.com. Go check out all the products there. Use my name, Clay, for 20% off. Let them know that you found and heard about Cozy Earth at Clay and Buck. That's COZY, 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 Earth.com. Code CLAY for 20% off everything.